Low quality fans of a high quality Bruins team. I'm trying to keep the tone correct, right? I'm trying to not be a certified a-hole about this. I'm a little upset. I got two things working against me right now. First of all, the Boston Bruins organization is pissing me off. The second one is I went to an adult beer league, kickball league today. I've never been before. My coworkers invited me to come watch and grab some beers with them afterwards, but they were down a player, and I decided to play. And I thought the best way to counteract my bum knee that I need to go to physical therapy starting next week on would be to drink. And so, copious amounts of alcohol has also got me in a rather emotional state, if you will. For what it's worth, I went 3 for 3 at the plate and had 0 errors in the outfield. So, your boy balled out. They lost 11-2. I say they because I didn't do anything wrong. No, we lost as a team, and I accept that. We lost as a team. Team's garbage, but it's okay. It's just adults playing kickball. We don't have to take it that seriously. The Boston Bruins organization has made some transactions, and I'm going to read them off to you, and I want you to notice some themes here. But I'm going to read off who has been sent down to Providence and who still remains. Let's start! Mark McLaughlin has been placed on waivers to the purpose of assignment to Providence. Not shocking. And here we go with the rest of them. Abate, Bavaro, Bichelle, Brunet, Callahan, Duran, Edward, Farinacci, Harrison, Kantar, Lysell, Mayer, Mast, Makura, Merkulov, Millman, and Nelson will report to Providence Bruins training camp. Cascaseo has been released from his PTO. That's the goaltender who is also on YouTube, but is also a goaltender, but it's on YouTube. They made a bunch of articles about him. He has been cut. He is not, no longer has an active PTO with the Boston Bruins. And he will report to Providence Bruins for training camp with them. Now, the training camp for Providence starts on Monday. So, these cuts were expected. Some of them. Here we go with the ones who remain for the Boston Bruins training camp. Beecher, Brazeau, Brown, Coyle, Frederick Geekie. Out of those 6, the only one who would shock you but not shock you is Brown, because to the heat death of the universe, Patrick Brown will still be in a Bruins logo no matter how much we complain. No matter how bad he looks, he will be present. But all in all, those are a kind of conversation. Tyler Johnson's PTO is still active. He has not looked good, but hey, it doesn't make sense to cut him in the first round of cuts. I'm not going to complain about that. We're going to circle back on something related to that. Max Jones, Kostelic, Kepke, 26 years old. Lettieri, Lindholm, Marchand, Pastrnak, Patra. All of those make sense. Kepke, 26. He's not established, but good on him. He deserves to be sticking around. I thought he's looked good enough. Tufte, 26 years old. Veal, 27 years old. Both of them are going to stick around as well. Zacha, Carlo, Lindholm, Lohrei, McAvoy. All makes sense to me. Mitchell, who's looked abominable. He's going to stick around. Osterley, who's looked worse, is going to stick around. Peak, Regula, Sweezy, who's 28 years old, by the way. Wotherspoon, Zadorov, Bussy, DiPietro, Corpusalo. Couple names to point out here, because I think there's a theme you're recognizing here. I bet there's a theme. We've got, as non-established NHL players, we've got Kepke, Tufte, Veal, and Sweezy. Regula, I could count, but he's bounced around enough. He's old enough. He's kind of in that lump of, you should be sticking around in camp longer. You're kind of that 7th, 8th guy. I get that. But these 4 are really the ones I want to point out. Kepke, Tufte, Veal, Sweezy. None of them under 26 years old. Sweezy, I'm really glad they're keeping around. I thought he was competitive. He belongs. Kepke, same thing. Tufte, Veal, not really, but whatever. Doesn't make really all that much sense to cut them this early. I get it. They performed well enough. Good. All 26 are over. Bussy and DiPietro are the only ones you could, call prospects that are still in camp, and that's because it's a position of need behind Corpusalo, who pretty quickly has taken the starting job by the throat. Good for him, and good for them, and it makes sense, because Swayman has still not been signed. And if we're going to start being bitter about the front office, why not throw that fact in there, right? Why not? I have been so supportive of the Sweeney front office and of this coaching staff. And I've mentioned multiple times through the offseason and into the preseason that I trust this coaching staff not to give roles based on veteran status, but to those who have earned it. And then they cut every single skating prospect out of camp in the first round of cuts. The first round. Now, do I believe all of these players deserve to make the team or were ready to make the team? No. No, I do not. But if you were going to ask me, hey, who should have had a longer look in camp? I would go with Riley Duran pretty quickly. I would go with Farinacci, who's been a good soldier and I think just deserves a longer look. Just blatantly deserves it. Go Trevor Kantar, who I am not a fan of his personal game, but many have been and has been productive and impactful. I would say Fabian Lysell, who has been productive and impactful and is your top prospect and fills a very blatant need on the team. I would say Merkulov, who has been very impactful in games, although the production hasn't been there. And I would say Nelson, who has been noticeable and very strong on the puck. Out of those players, I actually only believe one of them would have made the team. So what am I complaining about? Well, what I'm complaining about is you go into camp highlighting the second right wing role, saying it's open, and you want a prospect to take it, and then you named one in Fabian Lysell. And you talked about how you need youth to push and to start putting pressure on the established veterans. And some of them do. Through the first 4 games, there's 3 games left of camp. We are just over halfway through camp. Just barely. There's 3 games left. Some of those prospects, I felt, have been putting some pressure on. Not enough to displace fully, but putting pressure on. And you cut them. At your first opportunity, you cut them. Just like that. And so let's ignore all of it and just go, well, what about the one guy who has been productive on the score sheet, who has been actively creating chances offensively, creating turnovers in the neutral zone, and if you look at the numbers, one of our best defensive ranked players in the preseason games. Lysell has done pretty much everything you'd want to see as a guy who's ramping up towards the season. Like, I get the whole, well, these guys get to go 50% because we know what they're capable of at the NHL level. All right, but if a guy starts in his first game and he's pretty slow, and the second game he's looking a lot better, and the third game he looks really good, are you going to hold the first game against him, or are you just going to give him a chance to get his legs under him in camp? What are we doing? I don't give a shit if the guy makes the team or not, frankly. What I do give a crap about is you've preached all offseason and into camp about needing a youth movement, and we are one of the younger teams. Frankly, we are. But needing that and needing these guys to put pressure on some of these other players in those positions. What do you get? Well, we're going to find our first opportunity to cut him. We're going to cut him. It's disingenuous is what it is. It's blatant. I don't understand the strategy from a personnel standpoint. The message isn't there. I don't get it. This is the first round of cuts. If this was the second or last round of cuts, fine. You didn't make the team. But you took every single skating prospect out of the equation in the first round. What are we doing? And just so what? Tyler Johnson can sign? The guy who had 31 points last year and was a negative 30-something on a terrible Blackhawks team, to be fair. 16 of his points came on the power play. You know where he's not spending a lot of time in the Boston Bruins? On the power play. The guy can be a third-line center. Great. So we get to run Freddie, Johnson, Geeky. Awesome. Patra slots in on the second right wing. Cool. Like, frankly, fine. But this reeks of, I just have a favorite and I want to put him in. I liked the scouting report on Johnson. I want to keep him. You're not rewarding performance because, frankly, Lysell alone had performances that you would go, okay, well, he can stay around for a little longer. Trevor Kantar had performances where you went, okay, let's keep him around for a little bit. Look, camp is camp. And maybe there's some practices where they don't like the attitude, they don't like the energy, whatever. This stuff I don't know. Fine. But this feels really intentional. That not a single skating player under the age of 25 that isn't already established in the NHL doesn't make it to the second round of cuts? Really? Not a single one? I don't know. I put a lot of faith, I said it out loud, about coaching staff and making sure we're rewarding play on the ice and not just going with vet status. And right now, well, this just frankly doesn't look like that. When you cut someone in the first round, you're saying you weren't close. You weren't close. We're not even considering you. Like, you didn't do enough to even stay in camp to get another look. I don't know, man. I feel like this sends the wrong message. And yeah, I'm overreacting about this. Yes, I am. Sure. Absolutely. Is this unfair and I don't have enough information and all, whatever. Sure. But from a fan standpoint, this is abysmal. We have favorite prospects who we're rooting for. And it genuinely feels like they are not getting the opportunity. Lysell played 3 out of the first 4 games. And in 2 out of the 3, looked damn good. And we need talent. We really do. We've all fallen for these traps of getting overexcited about prospects. Really have. But you know what I don't really care for? Is pushing them out of the way so you can have 36-year-old Tyler Johnson jump in on the bottom 6. If he makes a team and he's signed, I'm a fan of his. You know, you're a fan of the team, you support the team. I'm going to root for him. I just don't get it. And I just... A piece of faith that I had held on to very vehemently, I really, really believed that the team will not reward vets. They will reward progress on the ice. They will reward performance on the ice. That took a hit today. Frankly, it did. I do feel that this is disingenuous to a few players. That they talked the talk, and when it came time to walk the walk, they stumble. Which, frankly, outside of blatant opportunities that basically Patra created for himself, but also was an area of need, was an area where, hey, we don't have anything for this 3C role. Oh, good, he looks pretty good. Let's throw him in there last year. It feels like they're still trying to force in the veterans. I just saw, I forget who said it on Twitter, and I apologize, but the team's so afraid of losing 3 out of 4 in November that they never win anything. It's a little harsh. It's a little over the top for me, but damn, does it ring real true right now. I don't get it. I don't get this move. There's at least a couple of these guys that keeping them around and seeing if they could continue to put pressure on felt like a really good idea. And nope. Just nope. I'm disappointed. Frankly, I'm disappointed. We'll see what happens. Still some camp to go. There was so much excitement building. I think that's why it hurts the most. Why it hurts. You know what I mean. Why it stings the most. Is that there was so much excitement building, and this kind of feels like a faceplant. Of like, oh, okay, we're running back basically the same team. Yeah, we got Lindholm and Zadorov. Great. Just would have really liked to see an injection from Lysell, or at least see him give it a chance. Kuntar even, who I'm not the biggest fan of, but putting pressure on those fourth line guys. Merkulov, obviously, I'm a fan of. I've said in the last video, I don't think he's done enough. Farinacci hasn't done enough to separate, but keeping them longer in camp, just rewarding that effort that they're putting in. And quite frankly, Jackson Nelson has been busting his ass and has been productive. I'm surprised they didn't at least give him a tip of the cap. Not great. And all this ranting, 15 minutes in, didn't even mention the biggest thing. Brad Marchand mentioned how much he likes playing with Geeky. He also mentioned how good is not good enough for the young guys. What is going to come out of this, which is an audacious take, is Marchand submarining youth because he has a preference for a vet. That's not a fair take. I want to be very clear about this. That's not a fair take. But frankly, it gains traction when this is the first round of cuts that the coaching staff went, well, Marchand mentioned how he likes the way Geeky is a utility player, no matter how black hole-ish he is in the offensive zone. Well, he likes how he's a utility player. He has a lot of IQ, all this stuff. Let's not get one of these young guys up. Let's make sure that we get Geeky in that role. If Geeky starts on the second line to start the season, which would be embarrassing, by the way, it would be frankly mismanagement of the team. And I don't care how far away I am from the team or how far away I am from being a professional. I know that for a fact. Geeky's a great third line player. He should not be in the top 6. But if he starts the season on the second line, that's a story out of there. Is that Marchand would have preferred to have Geeky up there. So the coaching staff went, oh, sure, yeah. That won't sit well with me. And I'm really hoping that's not what happens. And again, I don't think that's a fair take. I genuinely don't at this time think it's a fair take. It's just the path that appears to be taken. Not great. I'm disappointed. I'm overreacting. I know that. Ranting. I just would have really liked to see, someone give it a chance. Someone under the age of 26 years old. And obviously we got Patra there, but Patra forced his way into the lineup as he did last year and has already been pretty well established. Bussy and DiPietro, but that's the area of need. Would have liked to see Lysell and Kantar and Merkulov and, even Harrison continue to put pressure on some of these guys. If they lost the job, they lost the job, fine. But first round of cuts? That feels like going back on your word that you're looking for one of these guys to take the next step. Doesn't say a lot. And if anyone wants to talk trade value, it's gone. It's gone for any one of them. Lysell and Merkulov, to be specific, which are your two highest trade candidates for most coming back. Lysell didn't make the team again. It's not good. It's not good. I don't know, just my opinion. As we all know, I ranted too long about this. Go Bees, go Bees, go Bees. Get into it. Go Bees! Of course, we have to give a huge thank you to everyone who's supporting this channel, especially the high-quality inspectors, our top-line tier members, Chris and Erica, Jeff with a G, Tommy Braga, The Bugman, Roland22, GD Viperworks, Len Cruz, Moonlighter TV, Brock Nope, Han Slomo, Coach D, The Atomic Lizard, Bradley Johnson, Aaron Adams, Brett Arney, Pincent, and Nick Citrullo. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. You're all studs and studettes. And of course, a huge thank you to the Stallions, our all-star tier members, Joel, Doots42, Heil E. Coyote, Darren Woodbury, Abraxion, John Kirk, Michael DiPaolo, Wolf Warrior, Vinny, Adrian Winter, Tupton D. Tashi, Jacob Pratt, Bruins Smash, DeKingery, The Only Newts, A Tasty Snack, and Jeremy. You are all absolute legends. I appreciate you eternally. And as usual, go Bees!